I don't know what to say. This is a great show. What a great first season. I'm geeking out, man. I watched The Defenders, and the short story is it wasn't as much as I hoped it would live up to, but it did live up to a lot of things that I was like, it has to be this, otherwise this is going to suck. It did not suck by any stretch of the imagination. It was fucking awesome. Let's start off with the plot. So how does The Defenders start? So basically, The Defenders starts off where all of the four series of all four characters, it leaves off, or I'm sorry, The Defender starts off where these four series leave off. So you have, let's say, for example, Matt. Matt retired as Daredevil, and he's just living his lawyer life. He's doing really good as a lawyer, pro bono, not taking any pay for it. Luke Cage just got out of prison, and he's trying to just get back to helping Harlem by finding Mariah and Shades. Jessica is just being a PI, doing her usual thing, being an alcoholic too. And Iron Fist is just hunting the hand after the events of what happened with the end of Iron Fist Season 1, where Kunlun is destroyed. And then an earthquake happens, and that's kind of where things get kicked into gear, and that's eventually how the four meet up. Their four disconnected stories become connected because of one earthquake, and there's basically like a conspiracy going around. And of course it's a conspiracy. In this case, it's right where they all meet up, and that's how The Defenders starts. Some of the pros. So all four characters, Matt, Jessica, Luke, and Danny, they are all likable in this, including Danny, which I will talk about in a few minutes here. But they're all likable. They all have great chemistry. You love watching them interact together. All four of them, whenever they're on screen together, when the Defenders are on screen, it is so enjoyable. It is so pleasing to just watch them interact, whether it be and they're just having laughs or talking about the situation at hand, or they're butting heads with their ideologies. It's just really enjoyable to watch all of them together. They all have great chemistry, and on top of that, no character gets shorted on time or character development. No character feels left out, and it's really awesome. Just it's overall enjoyable just watching them just be together, and it's what The Defenders is about. It's like the same thing with the Avengers. It's you loved watching them finally be together, and it is really enjoyable. And on top of that, all your favorite side characters from the shows are back. So let's see, I wrote a list down. You got Karen and Foggy from Daredevil. You got Trish and Malcolm from Jessica Jones. You got Misty and Claire from Luke Cage, and Colleen Wing from Iron Fist. All your favorite characters are back, and they each even have their own little serialized little arcs. So they each have some kind of role to play in the Defenders, some a lot more than others, some a lot less than others, but they each have something to do in the Defenders, and it's really cool just watching them and just knowing that it's all connected. Is I think the point of having all these side characters there is just that it's just this idea that finally all these four shows and all the little characters and the supporting characters are finally just, it's there, it's connected, and it's really cool. Like I said, the tone of the Defenders is a great mix of comedy and drama. There was no like more than one thing or the other. It was just really like you have characters in there who are funny, like Jessica Jones is a smartass, and Iron Fist is supposed to be kind of the comedic one. But there's also the dramatic moments, the moments that the show takes seriously, and it's really nice. Tonally, there was no confusion as to what the show wanted to do. I don't think. I think the show, it just has people. It just has people being people. These heroes are still people. They have all kinds of emotions, including the comedy and the drama, and so it didn't feel off tonally. Like you felt the characters interacting was totally natural, and the comedy was natural, and the drama and the seriousness was also natural as well. Another pro, which kind of adds to the tone point that I just made, is the music adds to whatever the scene is looking for. Like there's moments where like Wu-Tang Clan comes back from Luke Cage, and it adds to the kind of comedy or the lightheartedness of some of the scenes, but also there's a lot of violin score in this, and it adds to the drama. And Marvel knows, I mentioned this, if you watch my like Arrow and Flash reviews, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say this. But Marvel knows how to not add music to scenes, and not having music to scenes sometimes makes the scene. And Marvel just knows how to do music. They know how to, they got their music shit figured out. Another pro on my list is the action. The action in this, whether it be from Daredevil and Iron Fist being their acrobatic and just martial arty self, or to just be Jessica Jones and Luke Cage just bitch slapping hoes left and right. The action was great, but on top of that, Marvel knows their violence. They have so many decapitations in this fucking series. Like, goddamn, like Daredevil didn't have as much blood and gore as it did in the Defenders, which is fucking insane, because season 2 of Daredevil, you had the Punisher, still not as much blood as this. Like, there's a lot of blood, and just decapitations. Very specific on decapitations in this series, man. Those are all my pros. Let's get into the cons. Unfortunately, the villains. The villains kind of fell flat, okay? For example, the main villain, played by Sigourney Weaver, her name was Alexandra. I thought she was going to be a comic book character, but as far as I know, she wasn't. Alexandra did next to nothing, and she was played out as this, like this big bad villain that everyone was going to be like, yeah, she's going to be the best Marvel villain ever, or maybe not, but like she was going to be up there. Like, how is this person going to give the Defenders a run for their money? Because it's the way the trailers were making it seem was that she was going to be the only villain aside from the Hand, but like, how was she going to control the Hand? Alexandra did next to nothing, and it kind of sucked. It made her really underwhelming. Sigourney was just fine. Sigourney Weaver did great, as she normally does, but Alexandra, the character, was boring. She didn't do anything. It kind of sucked. Now, I mentioned I was going to talk about Iron Fist, and we're in the cons part of the video now. Iron Fist, his character is a lot more likable this time around. You don't hate him as much as you do in his own series, but it's only because now he gets to interact. So basically, I was right. If you watched my Iron Fist review, I said that he needed to interact with the team members, and it did bring out a little bit of his comedic side too. But still, he was still a little bit like too serious, a little bit too naive, and too like childlike. So I'd say probably 2 steps forward, 1 step back with his character. But on top of that, dude, more Iron Fisting, please. Bring out the gold fist, man. Like, everyone wants to see this. What I'm putting on screen right now. Everyone wants to see Orson Randall. This is Iron Fist. That is what the fans have been dying to see. And on top of that, bring the costume out, man. I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, this is, as far as Iron Fist specifically goes, this is what Iron Fist should look like. Look how quickly Orson Randall was able to take out like 10 guys. And they all had guns and stuff too, you know what I mean? I think I saw a comment and I was like, yeah, I agree with this. I agree with this fucking comment a lot. He would have been trained for 10 or 15 years enough to take down a fucking dragon. And then he goes into his series and he doesn't know how to fight where the fuck. Then he comes to the Defenders and he's a little bit better. He summons the Iron Fist a little bit more, kinda, or he knows how to use it more, but he should know how to use it already. That's my point, is he got the Iron Fist, he doesn't know how to use it, he doesn't summon it enough. And that's just not, it's not like Finn Jones's fault, it's not his character's fault, it's just the way he was written. And I don't like the way he's written. At least they got like his actual character a little bit better, like he's a little bit funnier now. But still, just more Iron Fisting. That's all I'm trying to get at. This is a nitpick, but I definitely think it's a little bit like, why did they do this? Luke Cage's inability to just smack hoes around. He did it like all in Luke Cage season 1. He did it a lot. And the fact that he can't like slap the Hand around or just like go around just like grabbing their swords and shit and just snapping it with his bare hand or whatever, just go around just fucking slapping the shit out of hoes, you know what I mean? I don't know, but I definitely missed how like you were able to just watch Luke Cage just knock somebody in the forehead with his fucking middle finger, or just flick somebody in the forehead and they're knocked out, you know what I mean? He definitely gets his ass handed to him a lot in this series. Not a bad thing, because I mean they're formidable opponents, but I think a little too much they kind of nerfed him, and it kind of sucks, but that's a nitpick. I still loved watching him on screen. It was a blast. And then I mentioned it earlier, this is the last con on my list. More suits. Just bring back the suits. The only person wearing their suit was Daredevil. And Iron Fist has the suit, and maybe bring back Melvin Potter so that he can make Luke Cage like an indestructible yellow shirt, so that, you know, Luke Cage doesn't have to buy new clothes like he was complaining about in season 1. Give them a suit. I need them to have suits, please. The fans need them to have suits, please. End of rant. That's all I have to say. Defenders was awesome. All these cons, they don't add up to much. They add up, but they don't add up to much. Like, I can live with, what do I have here? I can live with Iron Fist being a little bit too serious at times. I can live with Luke Cage not smacking bitches around. I'd say probably the biggest con is the villains, and that's about it. I think it would have been perfect if there was like somehow more at stake. And I'll get into the spoilers for the stakes, but just the villains kind of fell a little bit flat. I don't know how they managed to pull off what they pulled off, but it's, you know, the villains were probably the biggest downfall of the Defenders, as it is with a lot of Marvel films or shows, as a lot of the MCU fans say. Like, Marvel has a problem with villains, with the exception of like Wilson Fisk. I mean, you know, shit, he's great. That's all I have to say about the Defenders. I'm gonna rate this, despite all the cons that I mentioned, I'd say 2 of them were probably nitpicking, like the suits and Luke Cage. I still love the shit out of it. It was great. I'm giving it a 9. 9 out of 10. Very solid. It was, like I said, it wasn't as much as I had hoped it would be. By the way, it is only 8 episodes long. It's not the full 13 like every series has been, but I definitely think the 8 was enough to make it so that there was almost no downtime, and I like that a lot. There was no downtime whatsoever. Like almost every scene counted, and that's all I could hope for, is that it's just constant awesome. It's just constant good. Like I said, in short, it wasn't everything that I had hoped it would be, but almost nothing is everything that you hope it to be. It was still damn near close. It was fucking great. I love the Defenders. It was awesome to watch. All the characters, you can just geek out over watching all your favorite characters just be together and just kick ass together and just interact and just see how they would interact and what they would say to each other. It was just awesome. I love the Defenders. Loved it. Great show. And that's all I have to say about it. This was non-spoilery. Check out my spoiler video whenever it comes out. Right now I haven't even made it yet, but check it out when it comes out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.